and welcome to a new video. I just wanted to let you know up front that this video is a paid sponsorship by Penguin Teen, so if you're not into that, then I'll see you next time. Penguin asked me if I wanted to make a video talking about the one memory I never wanted to forget, inspired by the book The One Memory of Flora Banks by Emily Barr. This book came out in the UK already and it's coming out in the United States now. It's about a girl named Flora Banks who at age 10 had a brain tumor removed, and after that she was unable to make any new memories, so she has a certain type of amnesia that prevents her from keeping memory in her head for too long. So she's had to navigate her life with writing on her hands things to remember, such as, your name is Flora, be brave. She's lived this way for 7 years, but then one night she kisses her best friend's boyfriend, and that, for some reason, sticks in her mind, and she can remember it. So it's the one memory that she remembers. And this book follows that storyline, figuring out why that is, and also chasing after that boy. But it also is about her coming to terms with her own illness and finding herself. I read it in one sitting. I think it's a really engaging storyline. It was so addictive, and I think it had to do a lot with the premise and the writing style, where Flora would forget things often, so she would keep repeating things, and she had such a circular voice because she kept having to go back to, this happened, oh I forgot it, this happened, oh I forgot it. And it really had a Finding Nemo vibe, which was really lighthearted, but at the same time it had roots of depth to it. I think for a book where you have to decipher if whether or not she's a reliable narrator, that made it interesting. The book just messes with your head because you don't know what's a memory and what she forgot and what is something she is imagining in her head. It just got so entrancing that I would look up sometimes and be like, oh right, I'm not in this book, I exist in the world. But I think this book requires a lot of suspension of disbelief, just because I know there's an actual diagnosis that Flora has, but it was hard to see this happening to a person, which is not to belittle anyone who actually has amnesia or anything like that, but there were some parts of it that I just was really weirded out about. Like, she only has a 10-year-old memory, but yet she's interested in putting on makeup and kissing boys and traveling and stuff like that, and I'm like, if I was 10, I would be watching Hannah Montana in my room all day. But in the end, I think that kind of worked because this book was all about finding independence and finding herself. If that had been explored a little more, I think it would have made it clearer as far as this person who thinks she's a 10-year-old but is also beginning to grow up. It turned out to be a lot more of a mystery than I thought it was going to be, and because of that, I liked it and I gave it 3.5 stars. Penguin Teen asked me to talk about one memory that I never want to forget, so today I wanted to talk to you about my BEA 2016 experience. BEA, if you don't know, is Book Expo America. It happens every May. Usually it happens in New York, but last year it occurred in Chicago. I went to Chicago, traveled by myself for the first time, was meeting all my booktube friends for the first time, and it was the best experience I could have ever asked for. Booktube is such a community of people that I've grown to love, and it's my best friends on the planet. Some of you guys understand me better than my parents or my real life friends understand me. Meeting people that I know from Booktube was like meeting someone I've already been best friends with for 3 years. It felt so natural, and it felt so like you didn't even have to stop and introduce yourself. It was just like, I see you, and you give them a hug and you're already best friends, and it's just the best experience in the entire world. I remember the day that I flew in, I went straight from the airport to the convention center, and I walked in with my suitcase, and the first person I saw was Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, and we ran over to each other, we gave each other a big hug, and she's so sweet, and everyone there is so sweet. And I kept walking down the hall and I met Jenna, who I was staying with, Jenna from Jenna Claire K. And then I went into the room that everyone was in, and there was Sarah from Sarah Without an H, Emma from Emma Book, Michael Booklet, and just like all these people who I adore. I was hugging people and like seeing faces for the first time. And you know, it's so weird to think that booktubers have legs, and like you put everyone's heights into perspective, and you were taking selfies, and it was just that first day of meeting everyone was priceless. I remember the first time I met my friend Sivy from Cookie Addiction. She went down the escalator and I saw her and we hugged, and she just whispered in my ear, Warner. So it was stuff like that where like you meet someone but they already know you, and it felt like my family was being reunited, and it just continued to be so much fun. That night we went to the Bean in Chicago, which was surreal. Everyone had their cameras out, we were all vlogging, and we all knew each other, and I remember I was just standing there staring at it like, it's just a big bean. And I was so impressed. I was like, why? Like, why is there a bean? I mean, it's cool, but like a bean? Such a surreal experience. I remember that night I was just looking around, looking at faces. Like, you're not on a screen, you're a person. And I think it was weird for me because I was on BookTube for 3 years before I met anyone other than people who lived in my state like Reagan, I wouldn't trade it for the world. We woke up at 5 a.m. every day to drive to BookCon or BEA, and the car ride's full of Hamilton and everyone was singing Hamilton at BEA, and it was just so much fun. I remember the first time that I met Jesse and Kat. We were standing in line, I think it was for Ransom Riggs, I don't know, but we were in the showcase area and we were standing somewhere and I just felt a tap on my shoulder and I turned and it was Jesse smiling at me, and I was like, turned around on my other shoulder and there was Kat over here, and I was like, I felt like such a fangirl. It was just like my 2013 self being like, Jesse the Reader, Catty-tastic, like, you know, and we already knew each other online, so it was like hugs and instant friendship, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. I vividly remember the cafeteria or the dining hall, what was it called? Just like the food that we had there was so overpriced. It was like $20 for a lunch, and it was so full that we had to sit on the floor. And one day we had a group of like 20 people. We were all just sitting on the floor in the back of this cafeteria eating, and we were all so tired. I remember Sarah was lying down and we were all just like making the stupidest joke, and we were all vlogging. It felt like such a family, and I cannot emphasize that enough. One major thing I remember is Michael from Michael Book Line is the funniest person I have ever met. The entire time, anytime I was with him, we were like linking arms, and he was just making me bawl laughing every day, over and over again. Michael, I miss you so much. It was just one of the funnest experiences in my entire life. I know you're gonna comment on this and be like, choke me, mommy, but no, Michael, I love you. BEA was the first time that I'd seen Tahara in 2 years. It was really funny because anytime she would even walk by, I would freak out. So like the day that we were gonna meet her, everyone would always be like, Whitney, Tahara's behind you, and I'd turn around, she wouldn't be there. And so finally at like the end of the day, before the signing, everyone was like, Whitney, Tahara's behind you, and I was like, y'all got me like 10 times, I'm not doing it. And I turned around this time and she's actually like walking by, and my heart evacuated my chest, and I got to meet her for the first time in 2 years. And at the signing line we were talking and I said, I'm your biggest fan, and she went, how the hell are you? And I was like, a lot of things, emotions. It was an emo time for all of us, and the next day I got to interview her, so that was wicked. Sitting this far away from your favorite human being on the earth and talking about your favorite fictional characters that that human being created, I'm speechless. Like, it was the best. Terrifying, but the best. By BookCon day, BookCon was like day 3, and we were so tired from standing all day and walking and holding heavy books and driving at 5 a.m. and literally on BookCon day we were all sitting on the ground just like watching everything, because there were no arcs out really. There was nothing happening except panels, so we were all just sitting around like... Everyone there loved literature, everyone there loved arcs, everyone there had the same favorite authors of you. Just the volume of selfies that were taken, the jokes that were made, the Hamilton that was wrapped. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I am so bummed I can't go back this year because I know they're all gonna have that fun without me. So thank you so much, Penguin Teen, for sponsoring this video. I hope that everyone enjoyed me talking about the one memory. I know it was like 20 of them, but it was like a one event that I wouldn't trade for the world. I never want to forget it. And I have a bad memory, so I made sure to document everything we did in my journal. Like I said, the One Memory of Flora Banks is out now. I read it in one sitting. It's under 300 pages, and I would recommend it just as like a mystery, thrillery, but almost whimsical type story. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. I will see you sometime in the future, and goodbye.